Behind me, the Pałac Pod Blachą here in Warsaw. This is the home of Prince Józef Poniatowski. His home, the place where he had his famous parties, also the War Office. Who was Józef Poniatowski? He was in fact a major figure in Polish history. Patriot, general, Minister of War, sometime Marshal of France. Join me in this episode of Poland Daily History, where we learn more about this remarkable Polish figure. I think at that point, Prince Józef, he then left Poland.
He left Poland because his uncle joined the Targowica party. So those people whom we regard as traitors, simply those pro-Russian ones, and Prince Józef couldn't find his place in
obviously
Poland.
Peace, so-called, came, and so for him, of course, and for I think most of the generals as well took the same view, that this was rather disappointing. So we're not going to stick around and sort of suffer this sort of humiliation.
That was humiliation. That even the king joined the Targowica confederation, because it's called like this in Polish history, Polish historiography. Confederation. It's a military noble assembly that is summoned in order to do something in the politics. So there are bad confederations and good confederations. Depends on what those guys are trying to do in politics.
And then I think that after he went to Vienna, I think at that point, didn't he? I think
he moved to that I don't remember. He moved to France and Belgium. At that time, if my memory serves me correctly, maybe he was also in Vienna. I don't want to lie to you.
I think he went to Vienna and then went to Paris, of course, where in France things were quite exciting because, of course, they were having their own revolution. But then I think for the second time in his career, his uncle, the king, summoned him back to Poland to sort of try and take charge of a sort of new Polish army.
Kościuszko uprising in 1794, and that was a misfortune for Poniatowski, because he was responsible for protecting Warsaw from the west against the Prussian attack, because we often think that there was only one enemy at that time, that was Russia. No, the Prussians were also here. He was late for this very important battle, outskirts of Warsaw, and he was blamed for bad commandment. The public opinion would say that thanks or due to his reluctance, Russians could come too close to Warsaw. And in that time, he was blamed for that, and then we are now moving a bit forward to in the future. In 1809, during the Polish-Austrian War, when he abandoned Warsaw, people were saying exactly the same thing. That's for the second time he's been abandoning Warsaw. This had a very bad impact on his, maybe not on his military career, but on his opinion that events in Warsaw.
The result of that failed uprising, because led to the third partition of Poland.
To the third and final partition
of Poland,
1795.
And then as I recall, his uncle, who had abdicated, went to St. Petersburg, where he died in 1798, perhaps. Catherine died in 1798. As I remember, that Prince Józef, of course, got on quite well with her successor, Tsar Paul. So he went to attend the funeral. He went to Moscow and was sort of chatting with the Tsar.
Tsar Paul hated his mother. In politics, he was doing exactly the opposite to his mother. So if
my enemy's enemy is my friend.
Exactly. So if his mother was very anti-French, in the sense anti-revolutionary, he was an admirer of Napoleon, because that's the time when Napoleon comes to power. 1799, Tsar Paul gets killed in 1801, so there is a small period.
I think I'm right in saying that it was Tsar Paul, because he actually liked Prince Józef, restored Prince Józef's estates in Poland, which had been confiscated after the third partition, including the building in which we're now speaking was one of the properties that were returned to him.
Pałac Pod Blachą. This one he couldn't give him back, because we have to remember that Warsaw at that time was taken by Prussia. The period between 1795 and 1806, Warsaw is a Prussian city. Then, of course, after the Congress of Vienna, the frontiers moved westwards, and Russia took control of the former Duchy of Warsaw. But at that time, that was Prussian. But you are correct in saying that his estates in what is now Lithuania, I don't remember the names. These are not major cities that were restored. No, because it wasn't under Russian rule.
Well, at least from 1806, I think we can safely say he was living here.
Yeah.
And this became, at that stage, I think he refused the Russian invitations to be part of the army, and sort of lived a life of, well, semi-retirement maybe, but he was certainly having a good time while he was living in this building.
This period that you mentioned, that he was having a good time. We have to be frank that these 10 years at the turn of the 18th and 19th century, just before Napoleon entered Poland in 1806, that this period was a waste of time. I mean, Prince Józef was mostly drinking alcohol.
Maybe not everybody thinks drinking alcohol is having a good time. I mean, by the standards of somebody who'd been in public life, to sort of opt out of public life.
And a womanizer. I mean,
it's interesting because he actually, never, I mean, that was very typical of the aristocracy, alcohol and women. But he never actually married, did he, I think?
Somewhere here, there is a painting showing Prince Józef farewell to his wife and son. This is, of course, fake. This is fake, because he had no wife. He had two sons, and both of them were named Joseph after the father.